Both my parents came from Glasgow. My father from Russian, Polish, Orthodox Jewish stock, and my mother from a Northern Irish, Celtic Pict, Scottish, communist, Gentile family. Not surprisingly, I'm completely mixed up. And not surprisingly, their union produced a very huggy-huggy, slobber-slobber, kissy-kissy family culture. Now, when it came to visitors, my mum had two rules. If it moves, kiss it. And if it's still moving, feed it. It was our family culture, the way we did things round our home. And that's one definition of culture, the way we do things round here. Every family has a culture, every workplace, every team, every church, every home group, every front line, a way of doing things round here. Some of it's good, some of it not so good, some of it downright destructive. Now, my family culture never struck me as unusual until I got to about 10 years old and my reserved Southern English Gentile friends would come round. After a while, I began to notice their discomfort, how they would pad tentatively through the front door like nervous antelope, their ears cocked and their eyes scanning the terrain for danger. And then suddenly they'd whoosh up the stairs faster than Usain Bolt out of the blocks, all to escape the enveloping embrace of the kiss monster. Now, the culture in my home hadn't arisen accidentally. My mum's huggy affection for my friends came out of a whole set of values about community, about hospitality, about food, and about an adult's relationship with her kids' friends. An adult has a duty of care to someone else's child. It is right and good for an adult to show physical affection to someone else's child in greetings and farewells. And it is absolutely imperative that food is offered and that food is eaten. My mother's behaviour emerged out of a set of beliefs. Our beliefs shape our behaviour. If we think eggs are bad for our heart, we don't eat many eggs. But when new research tells us that they aren't, well, bring them on. Scrambled, wet, but not runny, with a smidgen of salt and lots of freshly milled black pepper served on crunchy hot toast. Beliefs shape behaviour. So the question is, how might our Christian beliefs, our kingdom values, shape our behaviour and shape a culture on our front lines that is more likely to help people flourish? How can we, as it says in Jeremiah 29:7, not only pray for, but seek the shalom, the peace and prosperity of the front line God has called us to? What's good about the way people do things on your front line? What's worth cheering? And what isn't good, not only for us, but for others? In Romans chapter 12, Paul exhorts the Christians. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Paul knows it's pretty easy to end up behaving like everyone else. Gossiping, because everyone else does. Being a bit too concerned about the sculpting of your abs, because everyone else is. So we look for ways not only to change our own behaviour, but to change the way things are done around us. Perhaps the culture at your gym is very narcissistic, very self-focused. What could you do to make it less so? Well, maybe you might suggest that the Christmas party includes a raffle in aid of kids overseas who need cleft palate surgery, or that the money goes towards a table tennis table for the council's youth club. Perhaps you dislike the way that everyone in your family fiddles with their phones over meals, messes up conversations. So maybe like one family, you make everyone pop their mobiles into a basket before the meal, like a sheriff in the Wild West, confiscating every cowboy's Colt 45 when they ride into town. Bow, wow, 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 wow. Mobiles and Colt 45s can be bad for relationships. Maybe you dislike the way everyone in the retirement home seems to just sit around watching too much TV. So you celebrate everybody's birthday with a multiple choice quiz about their lives so that residents get to know each other. Or you put on a family history hour and relationships deepen. And when a culture becomes more like a kingdom culture, that's fruitfulness. Culture is the way we do things around here. And so it's made up of pretty much everything. The stories we tell, the rituals we have, the rewards that we give, the heroes we admire, the slogans we repeat. Now there's good news and bad news in that. The bad news is that because values are expressed in all those ways, it can be quite hard to change a culture. The good news is that because values are expressed in all those ways, it can be quite easy to find a way to begin to change a culture. Before I tell you a story, you might want to pause the film and discuss some of the positive and negative aspects of the culture of your front line. Here's a true story. Elaine's a head teacher of a primary school in Glasgow, and one day something really quite bad happened. A 10-year-old boy, a particular 10-year-old boy, who'd had a long history of being a troublemaker, and we'll call him Alex, had gone ballistic in the school playground, shouting and swearing and screaming. A member of staff had gone out to try to defuse the situation, talked to one of the other children, and was pretty convinced that actually Alex was to blame. A second member of staff came up and also was convinced that Alex was to blame, and then a third, and Alex then lost his temper and he ran out into the school field. Elaine, the head teacher, was informed, and she went out to talk to him. "It wasn't me, miss, it wasn't me. I didn't do it. They wouldn't listen. They just wouldn't listen." Well, Elaine believed him, went back into the school and talked to the other child who was involved, who owned up. And then she went to the 3 members of staff who'd been involved and told them that Alex was innocent. And they went and apologised to him. And subsequently, the other child involved also apologised to Alex. I wonder what strikes you about that particular story. Well, one thing is that Elaine really, really listened to Alex. And she didn't prejudge the situation based on his past behaviour. And an habitual troublemaker learned what it feels like to be treated as if they'd never done anything wrong before, as if the past really is the past. She made sure that justice was done. She showed other people the ways of the King. What was it about Elaine's school that 3 members of staff should apologise to a child? Well, when Elaine arrived at the school, she decided the kind of culture that she wanted to create. She knew that many cultures end up being blame cultures, where people in authority never, ever apologise. She didn't want a blame culture, she wanted a forgiveness culture. So right from the start, she told parents, she told staff, she told the children that she'd make decisions, but that she'd also probably make some mistakes. And if they didn't like something she did, then they should come and talk to her about it, and if she agreed, she would apologise and then go do something about it. And that's exactly what she's done. So what did Elaine do to mould that culture? She'd spotted a negative in her school's culture. She believed it could change. She identified a kingdom antidote and she gave it a try. Yes, Elaine was the head teacher, but you don't have to be an authority to mould the culture you're in. You don't have to be the boss, the parent, or the team captain. Anyone can make a difference. I wonder whether there's something you could try that would make a kingdom difference, make your front line a better place to be, more like the way Jesus would like it to be. So, wherever you are this week, Shalom.